Good morning, and I think you have already observed what we discussed in previous lectures, that is projectile motion. We have given a quite elaborate lecture there, and today's topic is uniform circular motion. As the name implies, uniform. Uniform means something which is constant. Well, what is that uniform circular motion? All the circular motions are not uniform. Always remember. And therefore, in order to explain that, first we know what is the main topic, that is uniform circular motion. When a body moves along a circular path with a constant speed, remember, when a body moves along a circular path with constant speed, then the corresponding motion is called uniform circular motion. Okay? It does not mean that at every point velocity is constant. No, it is not. But the speed, the value of speed remains constant. Okay? And suppose we are having this disc. Okay? This CD is there, and I am having say motion like this. I am having the motion like this. You can just observe it is moving. Okay, it is moving in circle. Now remember, if I have a point on the rim of this circle, if I have a point on the rim of this circle which is rotating with uniform speed, then the motion of that point is your uniform circular motion. In the other example, suppose we are having this wristwatch, or you can see wall clocks everywhere. Some tips are there. That is in case of wristwatch or wall clock, the tip of the seconds hand, or that of minute hand, or that of your hour hand will also have this uniform circular motion. Okay. Now, before we discuss further in the uniform circular motion, there are many such examples with which we are quite familiar with. Since we have not to discuss any force right now, we have to discuss only the velocity, only the motion, only the acceleration related to this chapter. Therefore, we have not to take any other examples. Otherwise, we could have taken other example where we can see some sort of forces also. Okay, where we have that force can lead to this type of motion, that is uniform circular motion. Anyway, let us move to some physical quantities related to uniform circular motion. Physical quantities are related to uniform circular motion, or associated with uniform circular motion. First, we discuss what is angular displacement. This is our first topic, that is angular displacement. We can just observe this. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is point O. The angle moved by OB is θ1, and this is say θ2. Then this movement is delta theta. This movement is delta theta. This is your R, and this is your delta S. Now we are discussing angular displacement. As the name implies, displacement means something changes position. Something changes its position from one place to other. If it is in angular form, suppose something is moving along a circle, as we have already said, we have taken that CD and that was in fact moving along this pen, and that way by rotating, and we are considering the motion of this blue dot, and the motion of that one was considered to be uniform circular motion. Initially it was here, after some time it moves to this way, after some time it moves to this way. That means I am just repeating, initially it was here, okay, after some time it reaches to different position, and again after some point it reaches another position. This is the slow motion of the circular motion, what we call. It could not be understood by this, but rather here. Okay, the angular displacement. What is angular displacement? If anyone said, angular displacement is the angle moved by the radius vector of a circular motion of a circle. That is, when a body moves along a circular path, then the angle swept by the radius vector is called angular displacement. Always remember. I am again repeating, if anyone said what is angle, angle is very obvious, it is just arc upon radius. But when we call angular displacement, it is the angle moved by a radius vector in a given interval of time. Is it clear? I am again repeating, angular displacement is the angle moved by a radius vector in given interval of time. It's called angular displacement. Suppose we write angle. Initially it was at time t equal to 0, now it is at time t equal to t1, it is at time t equal to t2, then in time t2 minus t1 it covers an angular displacement of delta theta, and therefore we write angle equal to arc upon radius and angular displacement delta theta equals to the change of position, that is delta s, okay, and radius vector is just r, okay, and remember its unit is radian. This was our first physical quantity that we call as एंगुलर डिस्प्लेसमेंट. तो एंगुलर डिस्प्लेसमेंट क्या हो गया? किसी भी बॉडी को जो सर्कुलर मोशन में घूम रहा है, उस बॉडी के उस सर्कल के रेडियस वेक्टर यानी जो रेडियस वो किसी टाइम इंटरवल में जितना एंगल मूव करता है उसको हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? एंगुलर डिस्प्लेसमेंट. नाउ नेक्स्ट वन इज एंगुलर वेलोसिटी. Angular velocity, okay. Now, suppose we are having a given body which is moving along a circular path of radius r, and then at time t equal to 0 it is at position A, and at time t equal to delta t it is at position B. Okay, then angular velocity, as the name implies, it is the rate of change in angular displacement. It's the rate of change in displacement naturally. The displacement change itself is not every time it is possible, but we rather say that it is the ratio between angular displacement and time. Okay, it is the ratio between angular displacement and time interval is called angular velocity. It is denoted by omega, and from the diagram it is clear angle moved or angular displacement is delta theta, and this is your time. Okay, this is your time. Sometimes we write it as delta t because here we have seen it is delta t, and this will be your average angular velocity. Since we don't have any specific value, therefore when we are exactly considering the circular motion, and in that every time it is at different position, the point which is moving along the circle has different position with at different time. Okay, अलग अलग समय में वो अलग अलग पोजीशन पे रहता है. तो इससे क्या हो जाएगा कि जैसे यहाँ पे एक टी इक्वल 0 में यहाँ पर, टी इक्वल डेल्टा टी में यहाँ पर, और किसी टाइम में यहाँ होगा, और किसी टाइम में ऐसे यहाँ पे होगा. At different positions at different time it will be at different position on the circumference of this circular path. Okay, and therefore we have to get the average value of that angular velocity, and we get this omega bar equal to delta theta upon delta t. This is omega bar. Remember, this is not w. This is a slightly round w. It is called omega. Okay. This is your angular velocity with average angular velocity. If we want to know the exact value, then that we call as instantaneous angular velocity. There will not be, this bar will not be taken, but what we take, just omega. Here limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta upon delta t, that is d theta upon dt. Simply, for the smallest possible time we have this type of situation where this omega is written as, this is instantaneous angular velocity. Its unit is radian per second. Unit is radian per second. Okay. It is a vector quantity. That is very important thing. It is a vector quantity, and its direction is given by right hand thumb rule or screw law. How? Suppose we know that this is the direction in which your body was moving along the circular path, and this will be the direction of this thumb. That will be the direction of your this angular velocity. For this, in fact, suppose I am having this, and I just want to know this. Suppose I am having this, and if I just have this, it moves downward, and if I just move this, then it slightly move upward. If I give the motion like this, then it try to move this way. This is the direction of angular velocity. If the disc moves like this, okay, CD moves like this, that is in anti-clockwise direction like this, then this will be the direction of our angular velocity, omega. Okay, and therefore it is a vector quantity. After angular velocity, we will just move to other physical quantities related to this. They are next one is your time period or periodic time. It is the time taken by a moving body. When a body moves along a circular path, then the time taken by it to complete a complete a circle, to complete a circular path is called time period. I am just repeating. Time period is that time in which a body which is performing simple this uniform circular motion. It is the time taken by a body which is performing uniform circular motion, is that time in which it completes one circular round. Okay, that is the total time taken, or this is the net time taken by any body which is doing circular motion, uniform circular motion, in which it completes one circular round, is called this time period. It is denoted by T. Naturally, its unit is second. Its unit is second. That is, it is that time in which one complete round, one complete revolution is made. Time of one complete revolution is called time period. One round means one complete revolution. Okay. Now after that, next one is frequency. Next one is frequency, fourth one. Okay. Once we know this frequency, then we have to determine this. Frequency is the net number of revolution, total number of revolution that takes place in units time, or that take place in 1 second. Okay, total number of revolution that takes place in 1 second is called the frequency. It is denoted by nu, very similar to V, but it is not exactly V, it is slightly bent V, and this is always equal to inverse of time period. Its unit is revolution per second. Okay, sometimes we write hertz also. Okay, this is the frequency. Now let me have a relation between nu and omega. Nu and omega. This is part of the same formulation. It is a relation between nu and omega. Well, what is nu? It is frequency. And what is omega? This is your angular speed or angular velocity. Well, angular velocity is always ratio between angular displacement and time, that you know. If we consider a body moves along a circular path with radius r or whatever it is, it takes time t to make a complete revolution. If t equal to capital T, that is the time of revolution, that is your time period. What is the angle moved? Angle moved is always 360. एक बार पूरा चक्कर लगा ले, कितना एंगल होता है? 360 डिग्री. That is 2 pi. The angle moved in one revolution, the angular displacement equal to 2 pi. That is delta theta is 2 pi, or simply theta equal to 2 pi. Okay. Then angular speed, angular velocity, omega equal to theta upon t, that is 2 pi upon t. Okay. And now you know 1 upon t is written as frequency. We can write 2 pi nu, and therefore omega equal to 2 pi nu is a relation between this this frequency and angular velocity. This is all about the physical quantities related to uniform circular motion. I have deliberately left some of the quantities like centripetal force, centripetal acceleration, etc. But let me take first what is the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. Okay. Next is the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. For that, we take a circular path. This is A, this is B. Angle moved is delta theta. On the circumference, the displacement, their linear displacement is delta S, that is the length of this arc, and radius is your small r. O is the center of the circle. Clear? Now, suppose we know this is your angular displacement and this is your r, the radius vector. Let us determine angle equal to arc upon radius. Delta theta equal to delta S upon r. Clear? Now we divide both sides by delta t. We get delta theta upon delta t, 1 upon r, delta S upon delta t. Clear? And then we have to take the limit, delta t tends to 0. Limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta upon delta t, 1 by r, limit delta t tends to 0, delta S upon delta t. You might have understood, you might have some confusion regarding why we take the limit delta t tends to 0. इसका मतलब थोड़ा समझाते हैं आपको. लिमिट डेल्टा टी टेंस टू 0 का मतलब होता है कि टाइम बहुत ही कम है, वो 0 तो नहीं है लेकिन लगभग 0 को अग्रसर कर रहा है, 0 को मूव कर रहा है. इट इज अप्रोचिंग टुवर्ड्स 0. टाइम इज सो स्मॉल दैट इट इज रियली अप्रोचिंग टुवर्ड्स द 0 value. That means whatever we call that this is your limit, delta t tends to 0. इससे फर्क क्या पड़ता है? What is the difference? Difference is this is converted into d theta upon dt, 1 by r. It is ds upon dt. And ds upon dt is your linear velocity, and this is your angular velocity. Omega equal to 1 by r into v, or simply v equal to r omega. This is the relationship. And suppose if you further change it into frequency term, what it could be? R 2 pi nu. That means 2 pi r nu could also be a relation between the frequency and the linear velocity. But mostly we deal with this because our main point was to find the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. This was what we have. Okay. After knowing angular velocity, after knowing angular speed, angular displacement, all such things, we may also have the term whether we have angular acceleration also or not. Next is the angular acceleration. Okay. a new term, angular acceleration. Very simple, the rate of change in angular velocity can give angular acceleration. That is, it is denoted by alpha equal to d omega upon dt, and its unit is radian per second square. Yeah. Now, to have such type of motion, suppose we are having another small experiment. Suppose we are having, you can see this circular motion is there, and I will just explain first. This is simply some object. It is tied with a string, and that string passes through a pen, hollow pen, and there is another object here. Okay, not unbolted there in fact. If we study the entire thing, that will be a part of your centripetal and centrifugal force in different chapter, but not now. Here we have not to discuss any force, but we have to take only the acceleration. Therefore, we have to see the motion, circular motion. Okay, the motion of this, is your circle. You can very easily see the radius of the circle is the length of the string, and the point, this one, that is the nut is moving just like the particle moving along the circular path. Okay, and here if we keep on increasing the speed, linear speed is continuously increased, we can see that it is the direction of the velocity, direction of the angular velocity also changes. That is, its magnitude changes. That means it also changes. If it changes, that means there is always an angular acceleration associated with it. Okay, and that is quite three-dimensional approach. You cannot understand right now because it will be taken only when you study rotational body. There the term angular velocity will be explained properly. Okay, but here just to give you some idea that it is also a vector quantity. It has some direction, and that direction can be given by the direction of change in angular velocity. Okay. Now, after knowing this, the main topic of today is centripetal acceleration. Centripetal acceleration. Before we draw, it is a totally mathematical thing. Before we draw any diagram or anything, I must explain one thing. As the name implies, it is centripetal, meaning directed toward the center. You have seen 2 or 3 examples where the acceleration was always directed toward the center of circular path. That means there was some force that was acted toward the center of force, toward the center of circular path, and that we call as centripetal force. The acceleration developed due to this force is nothing but this is centripetal acceleration. Therefore, I must say that whenever a body moves along a circular path with constant speed, that means it is moving along a uniform circular motion. Okay, it is moving in uniform circular motion. Its speed is constant, but we know the velocity will differ, velocity will change. Here it is this one, here it is this one, and suppose I am considering this O, P and Q. This is V1 velocity, this is your V2 velocity. They could reach from, that body can reach from P to Q in time delta t. and the linear distance traveled is the length of this arc. This is your delta S. I am taking very approximate straight line type this. This is very close to this arc. This is your delta S, the length of this arc. Okay. Now angle moved is delta theta. Remember here the angle moved from time t equal to 0 to time t equal to delta t. How much? It is delta theta. This is the angle moved. And if I just produce this vector, we can see that in case of any circle, whatever angle between two radii will be same as the angle between two corresponding tangents. If these two radii have these two radii are subtending an angle delta theta, then these two velocities, they are the tangents, will also subtend an angle delta theta. Therefore, we can have this type of diagram. This is say A, B and C. This represent vector V1, this represent vector V2, and this represent V2 minus V1 or delta V. V2 minus V1. Okay. Now just let us check that here angle between them is delta theta, and they are equal because magnitudes of V1, V2 are equal because their speed is constant, and here also radii are equal. That means we can just say that it is the triangle OPQ and triangle ABC are similar triangle. Before we go further, I would just again explain the diagram. What we are considering, let there be a point which is moving along a circular path with radius r, clear? And it is moving with constant speed. Linear speed is constant, but at different positions it has different velocities, and therefore corresponding to different velocities, when velocities are changing with time, there will be some acceleration, and that acceleration is considered to be centripetal acceleration. Always remember, whenever any body moves along a circular path, it always experiences a force towards the center of that circle, and that force is called centripetal force, and the acceleration developed due to that force is called centripetal acceleration. Okay. Now we have to ignore the force term, but directly acceleration, whatever we get, that will be the final thing. Let us have this thing. We have said that is OQP and ABC are similar triangles. Why? Because both have the same angle delta theta, both have two equal sides, V1, V2 and RR. Therefore, what we have, PQ upon OQ equal to BC upon AB. PQ can be written as delta S upon R. BC is delta V upon V. Now we transfer V upon R this side, delta S, and we keep only delta V here. We are just reversing the order. Delta V equal to V upon R delta S. This is our equation number 1. Now we divide both side by delta T. Delta V upon delta T equal to V by R delta S upon delta T. Okay. Then we take the limit on both sides here, and limit delta T tends to 0, delta V upon delta T, V by R separately, limit delta t tends to 0, delta s upon delta t. Well, dv upon dt is your acceleration. Here it is centripetal acceleration. We write it, not directly, but first we write dv upon dt. Before writing this, we write dv upon dt, and here we write v upon r into ds upon dt. We know ds upon dt is your linear velocity, and this is your acceleration. Therefore, acceleration equal to v upon r into v, that is a equal to v square by r. This is the expression for centripetal acceleration. Remember, this is the expression for centripetal acceleration, that is v square by r. If we say, is there any other form of centripetal acceleration or not, we can have other form also. Let us make it in terms of angular velocity. We can write other form, other expression for centripetal acceleration, that is a equal to r omega whole square upon r square omega square upon r omega square. This is another form. Okay. If any other format is needed, then we can also express omega in terms of frequency. Then what is that expression? A equal to r, this is 2 pi nu whole square, that means r 4 pi square nu square, simply 4 pi square r nu square is another expression for centripetal acceleration. Okay, and this, in that way, the entire chapter is finished now. And for numerical, some of the things they are very familiar with NCERT books. And next lectures you can see some numerical which will be solved. Okay, and with that we have completed today's lecture on circular motion. Okay, and next time we will have another thing, that is some numerical problem and next chapter. Thank you.